Hey there, welcome to Craft Central Designs. I'm very pleased to share with you today my latest wine bottle wraps, which could also be done as well, of course, on any liquor bottle. These wraps are so quick and easy to create, even for the novice crafter, as well as inexpensive and a fabulous impressive way to dress up a wine or liquor bottle for presentation as a gift. I am thinking this is the perfect time to make these for New Year's Eve gifts, and as well to present to a host and or hostess of a New Year's Eve party you may be attending. There are so many occasions to dress up a wine bottle, but today I'm focusing on festive and elegant. Let me show you how I created these very easy, very inexpensive, and very beautiful wine wraps made with scrapbook paper. So pretty and so festive. Okay, let's start with the first one. I am using a heavy scrapbook paper. It's one of the stiffer, more heavier ones. I think these work best for this project. I would certainly advocate getting a stronger, more heavy scrapbook paper. You can get these by the sheet at Hobby Lobby every other week. They're 40% off. You can also get them in pads with a lot of different papers in them. But just check the weight of the paper, because the stiffer papers are going to look much better and hold up better. This one I got out of a paper pack that I had gotten at Michael's a couple of years ago. Really, really beautiful. This one is at Hobby Lobby currently. Absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can see the patterns on these scrapbook papers. These are absolutely exquisite. And currently, let's see, today, yes, through today, they're 40% off for the pads. Every other week, 40% off. These are just some other samples. You could do a glittery one. Now, there are going to be occasions when you're going to use a scrapbook paper that you probably prefer to have the back side covered as well, and I'll go over that in just a bit. Look at this pretty gold metallic scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby that has snowflakes on it. Perfect for winter, perfect for New Year's Eve. This is the paper pad that I had gotten at Michael's a couple of years ago. I did one for a gift for Christmas that was so beautiful. It was a black background with a gold metallic and white print on it. So pretty. So the next thing, you're going to want to choose some beautiful ribbons. I have a black satin one there, some different golds ones to choose from. I always get my ribbons at Hobby Lobby for the most part. Michael's also has nice ribbons. And on occasion, Joann's does as well. But I always get them on a week when it's 40% off. Look at this beautiful lace. I am definitely going to be using that on a wine bottle in the future. Also, if you look in the Paper Studio section of Hobby Lobby, you'll find beautiful trims that you can use, and that's an example of one of them. Again, I get these kind of trims when they're 40% off every other week. Now, I have there some gold tassels that I got in the Paper Studio section, again, at Hobby Lobby. These look so pretty on a wine bottle. Perhaps you never thought of ever using these if you've seen them at Hobby Lobby on a gift like this, but the more I started creating these wine bottle wraps, the more ideas I came up with. And I just have a ton of them in the future to show you for all different occasions. But today, like I said, we're focusing on kind of a New Year's Eve vibe, in which I always think of that as being sparkly and festive. I'm showing you here an assortment of buttons. These are in the sewing department at Hobby Lobby. Now, they are, even those fancier buttons, even the bigger ones are $1.99, or less. So check those out in the sewing department. You'll need a pipe cleaner. You'll need some scissors to scallop the edges of your paper. Now, you could leave them straight. Good heavens, I can't talk. You could leave them straight, but I advocate using some type of scissors that creates a scalloped edge. Now, I drew out my pattern. Through trial and error, I just came up with this design. Now, I'm going to give you these measurements also in the description box, but you could stop the video and screenshot this. You're going to cut out a square in the dimensions that you see there. Now, we'll scallop the edges in a bit. I'll explain that later. But you're basically going to need a piece of paper 11 inches by 11 inches. I'm going to show you here. I'm going to put the measurement here in just a second. It's coming. There it is. 11 inches. So basically you're cutting out a square 11 inches by 11 inches. If you have a paper cutter, that would be awesome to do that, to create nice straight lines. And I'm giving you there the dimensions of your wine bottle wrap. The ones that I felt really looked the most attractive on any standard size wine bottle. And again, you could do this on any liquor bottle as well. Maybe you have to make some adjustments if it's a bigger liquor bottle, but you could do that. And adjustments in size are so easy to do. This project is very forgiving. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so now, according to the dimensions that I gave you, this is a piece that you will have. Now, for the edge that's curved, what I'm going to advocate that you do is just fold your paper, but not crease it. Just fold it gently. About, I want to say, I think it was, let me check that. Okay, go down about 3 inches from the corner and just round off your section there on your wine bottle wrap. So I went 3 inches down from each of the top corners, and that's where I started my curve, and I just curved it around to the top of the wine wrap. And that section there at the very top is going to be about 7.5 inches wide. So where you stop your curve is, you maybe want to mark it with a pencil, but you're going to have about a 7.5 inch straight line at the top of your wine bottle wrap. And then you're just going to curve it down to the outside edges, going down about 3 inches. I hope that makes sense. But you can see there the configuration of the pattern. Okay, so that line there at the very top where my fingers are, that's about 7.5 inches long. You go down 3 inches from each of the corner, and you just take your scissors and scallop that and just do a curve. And you can mark your 7.5 inches there if you'd like, if that helps. But I'm going to advocate that you make a pattern, because then you can use it every time you want to make a wine wrap in the future. Okay, so I think this is the easiest way to do this. I took a piece of cardstock paper, a very heavy cardstock paper. Actually, it was a scrapbook paper that I knew I wasn't going to use for anything. And now I have a pattern. So every time I want to make a wrap, all I have to do is take that out, trace around it with a pencil. And now I'm just going to cut out the general square shape of that. And then I'm going to use my scalloping scissors. Now, my scallop scissors, you could get these at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. You could get these on Amazon. They do sell some scalloping scissors at Crafter Square, but I would not advocate buying them. They don't have a good cutting ability. I believe I got mine a few years ago on Amazon. I'm sure you could get them there. But they're more of a heavy-duty scissor, and they really, really do the job so beautifully. Okay, now I'm showing you that gentle fold there, but when we go to actually cut this, we're going to cut it on the side that has the pencil marks. But this is what I was trying to explain to you before, is you're going to go down around 3 inches from the corner, the top corner. That, well, doesn't matter, either or. You just, it's going to be, it's going to come out fine. Okay, so I use a clip. Notice I don't crease my paper. I don't want to crease in that paper. That's going to go around the wine bottle. All right, now, this is what I was trying to tell you before. You're just going to cut a scallop. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you're going to go down about 3 inches from the top. And then that top line there equals about 7.5 inches. Again, this does not have to be perfect. If you're off a 1/4 of an inch or so, no big deal. Now, I think it's best if you do that fold, put the clip on it, and then cut your scallops, both of the edges at the same time. Now, what I'm going to be doing here is this particular scrapbook paper is black with a gold, beautiful floral design. I do not want the back side of that white, so I am going to choose a scrapbook paper to put on the inside of my wine wrap, and that I'm creating exactly the same way as I did the top piece. Now, this piece that I chose was a black with some gold, kind of little dots, not really polka dots, but dots. And I'm going to use my clip again, go down about 3 inches right there, and just trim off the corner of that scrapbook paper. See how easy that was? Now remember, don't crease it. All right, so now I have a double-sided wine bottle wrap. And I'm doing this because I don't like the white showing on the inside of the wine wrap. So there will be a lot of scrapbook papers that you can use that it's not going to matter. But this particular one, I felt that it needed to be an equal color on the inside, which was, of course, the black and gold. Now I have my 2 pieces cut out. Even if they're not perfectly matched, that can be rectified very easily with your scalloping scissors. So I'm going to take the wrong sides and put them together. And I'm going to do that very simply by using Elaine's Tacky Glue. I didn't want to use hot glue. I didn't want any concerns of sometimes if you use a hot glue, you can see the hot glue, the ripple from the hot glue, or the delineation of the hot glue, and I didn't want that. So I took Elaine's Tacky Glue, and I put a nice little stream, not too much, because I don't want it oozing out, but I did it around 1/4 of an inch in from the outside edge. Now you can see what I'm doing here. I'm creating the inside of my wine wrap. Now, like I said, very easily I can rectify any little variation in the edges, even in the scallop. Those scalloping scissors are amazing. I use them all the time. One of the best purchases I've made in my crafting is those scalloping scissors. I use them all the time for scrapbook type projects. All right, now you can see that one of the edges of the back side of that paper or the inside of the paper is exceeding the edge of the front side of the paper, but that's okay because we can fix that so easily. I'm showing you here how I use my paper cutter. I like to use this, and I use this for my pattern just to get a nice straight line. If you don't have one of these, I advocate you get one because they're absolutely awesome if you like working with scrapbook papers. Walmart has them, Amazon, Hobby Lobby, Michaels, anybody will have that. Okay, now I have a collection of ribbons. I'm going to decide what I'm going to use on this particular wine wrap. And I decided I'm going to use this wired edge gold. Now, when you work with gold, you always have to look at it very carefully to see what the shade of gold is, because there are so many shades of gold. But this one seemed to coordinate very well with that scrapbook paper. And I'm going to create a small bow to go on the front of this wine wrap on the wine bottle. Now, I kept the bow small. I want to say 3.5 to 4 inch loops. And I'm creating the bow exactly like I always do. Fold over my loop, pinch it in the center, twist my ribbon, fold it over, pinch it in the center. See how I do that? Now, if you have another method of creating bows, maybe you have an easy bow maker or a bow dabra, that will work as well. I want all of the loops on my bow to be symmetrical. Now, I felt this particular wine wrap with the floral gold design was so elegant and so beautiful that I felt that I didn't need anything extra on this bottle. For example, say a beautiful a beautiful button or the tassels. I chose not to put those on this piece. I thought it was just so beautiful and elegant all on its own with the ribbon and the beautiful scrapbook paper, actually the two designs of scrapbook paper. So I'm creating this small bow here. Now, if you wanted to put a beautiful button in the center, you could just stop at this point, pull the tails down, and cut your ribbon off the spool. But I'm going to go ahead and create a center loop because that's the type of bow that I'm placing on this piece. So I just roll my ribbon under, catch it with my thumb there. Now I'm going to take my pipe cleaner from around the back side, pop it right through that center loop, pull it tightly, and I have a beautiful little bow to place on my wine bottle wrap. Now, I keep saying wine bottle, but you could do this on any liquor bottle, and I just think it is a stunning way to give a wine or a liquor bottle as a gift. And again, think about it for New Year's Eve. If you're going to someone's home for a New Year's Eve party and you're bringing a bottle, what a beautiful presentation. And let me tell you, these you can do in under an hour easily. Inexpensive, just a small amount of materials needed. I always keep scrapbook papers on hand, so for me, it's very easy. I have a huge bin of scrapbook papers. I just am a scrapbook paper lover. Now, if you wanted to put the tassels on, you could. You could have them coming down from that bow. But you're going to see here in just a bit, I actually do that with another wine wrap to show you how you could use those tassels. All right, so we're back to our wine wrap again. Now you can see all the edges are straight except for where we curved that scrapbook paper to create that design. Now I'm going to take my scalloped scissors and I'm going to go around all of the edges. Now these scissors are so easy to use because as you progress along your cutting edge, you can match up your little scallops very easily so that you get a nice pattern of scallops. And like I said, these are so forgiving. You can really, if you are not happy with the way your scallops are looking, you could just go back over that same line and just do it a little bit more on the inside edge of wherever you were not pleased with, if that makes any sense. And just go ahead and start another line of scallops to correct any mistakes. Now you can see I'm sitting right on the outside edge with my scissors. But if I were unhappy with the way that turned out, I could just do it again, just moving in my scissors in a little bit on that paper, if that makes sense. Like I said, these scissors and this whole project is very forgiving. It doesn't have to be 100% to the fraction of the inch correct. Okay, now you see I have a little bit of excess right there, so now I don't want that white showing. So you see how I just corrected that? I just went over that area, just brought my scissors in a little bit more onto the scrapbook paper. Now look how beautiful that is. All right. Now these are my options. I can use just the bow. I could use the tassels. I could use a button if I hadn't put the button on there. Or the button. I call it the button, the center loop. I often call it that, so that's what I was referring to, but that center loop. But like I said, I'm keeping this just kind of simple and elegant. All right, so what I'm doing here, I am going to wrap my bottle. Now, I want a nice, tight wrap on this bottle. There's going to be about a 1-inch overlay where the scrapbook paper is on folding over the scrapbook paper, if that makes sense. You see that 1-inch area there where the V starts? That's about a 1-inch overlay. I'm going to show you this a couple more times so you'll get it. But now what I'm going to do is figure out what am I going to do with the front of my wine bottle wrap. This one goes particularly great on this particular wine bottle because it has that gold cap. But you're going to see there's all different types of wine bottles out there. It also depends on the type of wine, whether it's a white or a red wine. So I'm going to be placing that bow right on the front of there. Now, whether you place it high on the wine wrap or up toward the top where the V is, or in the middle, or in between that, it's totally up to you. Now, this is my button. I'm showing you what I do with these. If I were to use it on this piece, I take my wire cutters and I cut off the little loops that are on the back of a button. That's where you would normally sew this on. But just to get them out of the way and to keep them from getting in the way when I go to glue, and so that I can get them as flush as possible on the piece, I snip those off. Some buttons have only one, some have 3, some have 2. It just depends on the button. But just take your wire cutters, it works really well, and just snip them right off. Now I'm going to put a belt or a wrap of ribbon around this wine bottle before I place the bow. Now, one thing that I wanted to do on this piece is I wanted the edges or the ends of my ribbon to be kind of cinched or gathered. So I just kind of twisted them. This is a wired ribbon, and I took a really fine wire, very tiny black wire, and I wrapped it around the end. Now, you could do this or not do this. I don't know that it really made that much difference, but it was just something that I wanted to do on this piece. I wanted it gathered right where it comes together in the front of that wine bottle. Now, yes, I am going to be putting that bow on there, which pretty much, covers it up. But, I'm kind of, I like to do things my own way. That's for sure. But I wanted to try this. I did this on another wine bottle as well, and I like the look of the gathering. You could see it from the side, how it gathers, but not necessarily from the front. So that's up to you. You can either do this part or not do this part. You'll see in another wine wrap that I do in this video where I didn't do that. So you'll see the alternative. Okay, so now I am going to figure out where my center line is, which is going to be in alignment with the V. Now, these wine bottle wraps will slide right off. Now, you want to try and get them as snug as possible, but even as snug as you could possibly get them, they will still, the recipient of this will not have to struggle to get the wine wrap off. So when I lay my wine bottles down to wrap them, I really try and get a nice snug fold, and then I hot glue them as you saw me doing before. Now I'm just gluing that down. You could see where I gathered the ends, and you see the effect that I was trying to get with that. Now I'm going to snip off the pipe cleaner there on the back. I didn't have a gold one, but it didn't really matter because it didn't show at all. And I'm just going to glue that beautiful little bow right down over that area where I have my ribbon gathered. And this is going to be it for this. This is a simple but very elegant looking wine wrap. Your scrapbook papers are going to be key in creating your wine wrap. Choose ones with a beautiful design. Choose ones that are of a heavier scrapbook paper. That creates the best, most sturdy wine wrap. If you use a thinner paper, you're not going to get the same effect. So either look for a pad with heavier scrapbook papers or get single sheets in the single sheet scrap paper department at Hobby Lobby. I noticed that Michael's doesn't really have the 12 by 12 sheets. By the way, that's what I use. I'm sorry. I don't think I said that. I use 12 by 12 sheets. So I'm showing you there how easily that comes off, but yet it's snug enough to present as a gift. Okay, this is my second wine bottle wrap. Now this came from a pad of paper, as the other one did as well. It was a beautiful scrapbook paper pad that I had gotten at Michael's, I mentioned before. But you can find beautiful scrapbook papers at Hobby Lobby in pads. They also have nice scrapbook papers at Hobby Lobby. At Michael's. I've never gotten them on Amazon, so I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you how sturdy those papers are. Okay, so I did the same process with this one. I cut it out from a pattern. I did the gentle fold. I did the scalloped curve. And then I went around and scalloped all of my edges. Now, for this one, I'm going to, firstly, I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to show you that here. So this is, again, a nice sturdy scrapbook paper. And notice that the back is white, but it looks very nice with the front of the scrapbook paper. So I'm not going to be concerned that it's a plain white. It's still going to look very beautiful. All right, now see how snug I'm working my scrapbook paper around that wine bottle. I want it nice and snug. Be careful, don't put too much glue. You don't want it oozing out all over. And I did a couple of sections at a time. And this is going to hold this very nicely. Now this scrapbook paper is really pretty. You can't really see it so well in the video, but it's white, black, and a beautiful metallic gold. So I'm going to be choosing black and gold to dress up this wine bottle. This also would be beautiful for a New Year's Eve gift or a New Year's gift. I'm going to use a black satin ribbon. I love the idea of using satin on an elegant wine bottle. So it's a little bit of a narrow ribbon. I believe it's 7/8 inch. But you can use whatever you like here. That's up to you. I decided to mix my ribbons on this one and do a black satin ribbon around the belt or the body of the wine bottle. And again, I align my ribbon up where I want it. Mine is kind of in the center this time. Sometimes I do it up a little bit higher. It just depends on how I'm finishing my wine bottle. I have a million, well, maybe not a million, but I have a lot of ideas for wine wraps for the future for all different occasions. And I'm going to be sharing those, you can be sure, with you in the future. I have not seen anything like this anywhere. Now, maybe other people have had the same idea, but I have not seen it. And I did look extensively on Pinterest, which is always my source to see what's trending or what other people are doing out there, other crafters. And I have not seen this idea. So I'm thinking it's an original. And I hope you are loving the idea of this, because I am. I gave a couple of bottles out for the holidays in this scrap paper wine bottle wrap, and the response was wonderful. So I think you can expect people to be impressed if you present this as a gift, especially with something that you created yourself, that you dressed up yourself, to give that extra special touch to that wine or liquor gift. Okay, so I'm using a more narrow gold ribbon this time. Everything doesn't have to be the wide ribbon. You can use a small ribbon as well. Now, I just used my method. I have a lot of different methods for doing small bows. It just depends on the type of ribbon and how I'm going to finish the center. But I just folded over my loops and then I folded under my loops, if that makes any sense. But you do you, and whatever method you have for making bows. I created a 4-loop bow here, and I left the center without a center loop. Now, if you wanted, you could put a button or one of those jeweled buttons. Make sure that it matches and coordinates with your scrapbook paper. In this case, this one was gold. Now, you could do that. Or you could do what I did, and I cut a little piece of ribbon and I just finished the center of my bow by wrapping it with a piece of ribbon, gluing it on the back, and just finishing that bow off that way. I'm going to have my little gold tassels that I got in the Paper Studio department, which is by all the stickers in the aisle with all of the stickers and stamps and things like that at Hobby Lobby. Sure, you could get them somewhere else as well, but that's where I got mine. And I always make sure to go on the 40% off week, which is the same week that the scrapbook paper is on sale. Now look at that pretty bow. Very simple. Very simple to make that. Okay, now I'm going to take my little tassels. These are so pretty. Now, I don't want my tassels to sit on the bottle evenly, but that's my choice. You do you. If you like them even, do that. But I'm going to stagger mine. I'm going to put one a little bit lower. And then I'm going to locate the center where my seam is for my ribbon. And I'm going to place those on that ribbon, hot gluing them down. And again, I position them so one sits a little bit lower than the other. See that right there? Look how pretty this is. Now, you can't really see the gold very well in the video, but that gold in that scrapbook paper is so pretty. And these little tassels just are absolute perfect match. Then I'm just going to simply place my bow right on top of those strings that hold those tassels. I got a few little threads to trim up there. I'm excessively obsessive about little details. So you see me, I fuss over everything really. But anyway, so I put that pretty gold bow down, and now my tassels are coming down the bottle. And this is just so pretty. So, so pretty. And there you have it. It's very elegant, very beautiful. This one could almost go, it's not totally feminine. I don't know how I really want to say that, but I think this bottle could go to most anyone, male or female, because I don't think it's like super feminine. It's just classy and festive and beautiful. And that's wine bottle wrap number 2. And I absolutely love it. Okay, now we're going to move on to number 3. This one I think is great for New Year's Eve. I just think it's perfect. It's winter. It's gold and metallic and beautiful and just kind of elegant for New Year's Eve. So I'm going to take my pattern. If you get a single sheet, you're going to have the price down there. You see on the lower right-hand corner. So you want to avoid that for your wine wrap, okay? So just place your pattern above it. So just be careful about that. Also, if you happen to use any type of directional scrapbook paper, you'll want to pay attention to that when you're tracing out your pattern. Now you could see the value of having a pattern to use, and you could just put this away in your craft storage area, and you could pull it out anytime that you have an occasion to give a gift of wine or liquor. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm pointing out there, avoid the price. Now, these sheets in the single sheet section at 12 by 12 are $1.99, but they're 40% off every other week. And now I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing. I always save my scraps, by the way. Never throw those away. You never know when you'll need just a little piece of scrapbook paper for something. I always keep my scraps. They can come in very handy. Okay, so I'm going to go around again with my scallop scissors. Now they do make scissors that look like, they're called pinking shears. You could use those. Those have like the triangular or the pointy pattern. I think the scallop is much prettier. And they also have other types of scallop designs. So check those out wherever you decide to try and find those scissors, because they come in different designs as far as the way that they cut. All right, so now I'm wrapping this gorgeous paper around this wine bottle. See how I get it super, super snug? You can see I'm holding it very tightly. I'm going to take my hot glue, little dab in there. Be careful not to put too much. You don't want it oozing out. And you just close that up. I think this paper is so beautiful. Definitely check out the papers in the single sheet section. You could do this as well in a glitter scrapbook paper. How gorgeous would that be for New Year's Eve? But if you do that, you're going to have to keep in mind that you're going to have to also buy 2 pieces and make it double thickness and cover up that, because it's going to be white on the back side. So you're going to have to do like I did with the first wine bottle. I'm showing you here the different options for this wine bottle, but I decided on this beautiful Robert Stanley wired white ribbon. It's absolutely beautiful. It has a pattern to it. Now I'm going to go ahead and put on the belt to the wine bottle, or the ribbon wrap around the center. Now I am going to use one of my pretty jeweled buttons on here. Now I was holding up that pearl button, which would have been so pretty if it had had a gold backing, but it didn't, so I didn't use that. But if you could find a button with a gold backing with white pearls, oh, that would have been so pretty on there. Okay, so just like we did with our other wine bottle wraps, I'm just going to glue right there at the center point where I'm going to be placing my bow. Fold it over nice and tight. I pull it really snug. I hold one end of the ribbon, pull on the other, because I want that nice and tight. That also helps to really keep that wrap secure on the wine bottle. And I fold it over just a little bit, and a little bit of hot glue. And this white satin ribbon was really beautiful on this scrapbook paper. Now, I'm fine with the fact that the back of that scrapbook paper is white. I didn't feel that I needed to double up the scrapbook paper. I was fine with it because there's the white and the snowflakes. That was fine for me. Now, if you want to secure your the belt of your wine bottle wrap, you could put just the tiniest dab of glue in the back. If it feels like it's not sitting there as secure as you want it, you could do that. Just make it as the tiniest dab, though, of hot glue. Okay, so now I am going to create a bow. And I'm going to create it in the same fashion that I always do. I'm going to leave about a 3-inch tail. I'm going to fold over my loops, pinch it in the center. I'm going to create a 4-loop bow, 2 loops on each side. But I'm going to leave the center open because that's where I'm going to place my very pretty jeweled button. And that essentially is about the most expensive thing on this piece, because it was $1.99. All the buttons there, they don't exceed $1.99 in the button department at Hobby Lobby. You can also pick up things like that on Amazon, and they come in a package. They're a little bit of a cheaper version, but they still look really beautiful. I had gotten a package of them on Temu, and again, I don't really frequent Temu, but I'm telling you, they have some great stuff that I can't seem to find anywhere else. So every few months, I do an order on Temu just because I love some of they have some really awesome stuff. Takes 2 weeks to get it, but that's okay. You got to plan ahead. Okay, back to the bow. 4-loop bow, 2 loops on each side. I took a white pipe cleaner, wrapped it around the center. Now I'm opening up my loops to receive my button. I don't need those pipe cleaner tails on the back. And so I am just going to simply take that bow and glue it. Now you notice I didn't gather the ends of that ribbon. I mean, you could do it either or. I'm not so sure it made a huge impact on the first one that I did, but I like to try different things. So, yeah, that's what I did. Okay, so I'm going to just glue that on right there at the seam. I'm loving this for New Year's Eve. You guys, tell me in the comments what you think of this as a way to dress up a wine bottle for New Year's Eve or a liquor bottle. I just think it's such a great idea. And you know, the recipient of this wine bottle is probably going to keep it. And then, you know, the next time they give out a wine bottle, they'll put it on there. Yeah, somebody already told me, oh, I'm going to keep this so I can re-gift it, essentially. Basically, that's what the plan is. Okay, so now I'm going to lay my bottle down, and I am going to use Aleene's tacky glue. Probably you could use hot glue, but I wanted to just be sure that that stayed very secure, and I knew that the Aleene's tacky glue was going to be a good solution to glue that on. Now I had to finish snipping off the little rings there that I think they're called shanks. I'm not really sure. You could correct me on that. I think it's something like that. Okay, and so now I'm just going to place my button on there, exactly position it the way I want it. I'm going to hold it down just for a little bit. Then I'm going to leave my wine bottle just laying on its back like that. And periodically, I came and just pressed it down to be sure it was really, glued very well. And this is the end result. Is that not beautiful? Can you not imagine giving that as a gift? That is just so much better than just handing somebody a bottle, don't you think? I am loving it, and I hope you do as well. And I look forward to doing more of these in the future. And here you have it, all 3 of them. And they all turned out so, so pretty. Think about the possibilities for these wraps and how you could use these for all different types of occasions. I'm definitely going to come up with one for Valentine's Day. Oh my goodness, that's going to be beautiful. Okay, if you're not currently a subscriber, I hope you will consider becoming one. Give this video a thumbs up if you would, please. It helps my channel to grow. And leave me your comments. Let me know which one is your favorite. Okay, until next time, you all take care.